I am Iowa First Lady Mary Culver.
I'm the Speaker of the House, Pat Murphy, a Democrat from Dubuque.
And so I'm wondering why you're out here today.
First of all, because I was invited. Second of all, because I think I may be presumptuous to assume, but maybe I represent the journey of a fair-minded, average Iowan. I didn't think the Iowa Supreme Court was going to strike down. I didn't think it was going to do what it did. I didn't think we were going to have gay marriage in the state, and I was very surprised. And then I read the court's opinion, and I reread it, and I reread it, and I thought about it, and reflected on it, and it's very well reasoned, and I think the court got it exactly right, which is the state doesn't have a legitimate state interest in denying that piece of paper, that civil marriage certificate, to persons who want to get married but who happen to be of the same gender. It's not the state's business to, make religious policy state policy. So I think I've taken a journey on this that might reflect what a lot of people have, but I wanted to come out and support. I do not want us to go in and amend the state constitution. I just think that would be such a substantial mistake to write into the Constitution something that our highest court in our state, the Iowa Supreme Court, has said violates our Constitution. It's unlawful and discriminatory. So I'm supportive of the court's decision, and I think people need to live and let live. And we've had gay marriage here for 16 months, and the sky has not fallen, and the sanctity of my marriage is intact. So I was invited to come today, and they accepted.
It sounds like for you the court decision was a turning point a little bit on this issue.
I think it was, because I don't think, at least I hadn't, and I think I'm probably representative, hadn't thought of marriage as the court outlines it in a decision as the state civil contract, which is represented by the civil marriage certificate, and then the religious side. And they've tend to blur the distinction over the years, not the court, but people. And the court's determination that the state doesn't have legitimate state interest in defining marriage so narrowly. So I think the court got it right, and so I was glad to be here today. I met a lot of nice people too.
And we're just curious to find out why.
And she's an attorney too.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I used to be an attorney.
So when she says she reads the opinion, she probably really read it too.
With some legal schooling to back. I'm curious to know why you thought it was important to come out here today and what you thought of the rally.
Well, I think, first of all, I think this is the first election since the Supreme Court ruling that occurred in April of last year. And because of what occurred in a special election that was discussed earlier, where the National Organization for Marriage spent about $100,000 on the election, they lost, and it was it's a very tight seat. Over the last 30 years, the Democrat or Republican that's won that on open seats won it by 100 votes or less. We were able to win it by 129 votes. So the fact that they spent that much money in one race, we know they're going to have a big presence here. We need to let people know that if they're really interested in keeping the ruling that occurred last year, it's important to have legislators that support marriage equality to one, get them active, and two, to make them aware that not everybody's on their side and that there's people that really want to change this.
And as an elected official, why are you personally motivated by this cause?
Well, last year before the ruling came down, it was something that some of us sat down and discussed it privately amongst ourselves, and it was just a very simple thought for me, which was both the U.S. Constitution and the Iowa Constitution, and the Iowa Constitution pretty much mirrors the U.S. Constitution. The part that both of those were meant to do was to guarantee people rights. Every time the Constitution's been used to deny people rights, it fails miserably as a document. And so I thought it was real easy for me to come to the conclusion of, you just don't put discrimination in the Constitution. These are people that are lawyers by trades. They're the top minds on legal issues in the state. And when they ruled, this wasn't a 4-3 or 5-2 ruling. It was a 7-0 ruling. Even the justice justices that supported it that were appointed by Republican governors, including the Republican governor that's running the Republican candidate for governor that's running when he was governor. Previously, he had appointed 2 of these people, and they voted for it. So these are people that come from all across the political spectrum, and they believe that the state has no place in this, and that people should have, whether they're same-sex couples or opposite-sex couples, they should have the same rights, irregardless. And so the legislature was very firmly saying that, at least for the Democrats that currently control it, we're not interested in taking it up. There are so many more important things to do with the number of people that are out of work, and we've had some excellent opportunities to expand our economy here in the last 2 or 3 years. We just thought we should keep our focus on what people want us to keep our focus on and not interfere with people's individual lives.
And what do you think, and for both of you, is there one thing that you want Iowa voters to know who really care about this issue coming up in November?
You want to go first, or?
Go ahead.
I'll just say this. I think since you're from California, this is we're a very well kept secret of the 50 states. 25 when Iowa first became a state, we had a court ruling here that the Iowa Supreme Court ruled that it was in the matter of the man named Ralph. Ralph was an African. Well, he was a slave that came up here from Iowa, to Iowa, and his owner claimed that he owned him and that he bought him for $25. The Iowa Supreme Court got it right the first time out, and this was in the 1830s. They just said no man can own another man, and that every man must repay their debt. So they told Ralph, you need to pay him back $25, but you're a free man in the state of Iowa. Iowa was the first state in the nation that allowed a woman to practice law in this state. As I made my remarks, we did the ruling on Brown versus the Board of Education in the 1870s, 75 years before the U.S. Supreme Court got it right. So we've always been sort of on the front end of issues involving civil rights and individual rights. And so I just think this is another example where I think we've got it right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I couldn't add anything to what Pat said. He got it exactly right.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.